Welcome to Fandom Night, the show that pays its rent. I'm one of your hosts, Seth Sario Level, and around the room.
ReploidBill, William Bush.
Got Action Jackson.
I'm a creep roto guy.
And today we are finally going to review a Supergirl. I don't think we've ever... we've talked about the live actions, but now that we're opening up to be able to review anything we want to review, here is the 90s Supergirl, the white top 90s Supergirl.
Nice.
Some people really did like this, and some people really hated this. Like, I remember there being an absolute dive against her when I was growing up. And who's to say if it was actually warranted? You could argue that this costume is too much of a departure. But they were trying to distance her from her cousin, and I would also say that it gets a little old that Superman or Supergirl is just female Superman. There's really no difference, and I don't know that I necessarily like that. I kind of like that they took an angle here and tried to make her own thing. Yep. And it kind of hit to the teens at the time because Supergirl is meant to be younger. And she's meant to be more abrasive, and she's kind of situating herself into the culture and everything like that. So it made sense that her outfit would be unique, would be different than his, and would kind of put her as a kid.
Which is funny, because she's actually older than him.
Not if we count the fact that she was in Stasis.
Yeah, well, yes. Actually, age-wise, she is older.
In terms of having been alive, but not having been living, if that makes sense.
I get you. No, yeah. She was in Stasis for what, like 15, 20
I think he's in his 30s or something when she shows up.
And he landed on Earth when he was, what, like a year old?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, she was in Stasis for over 30 years. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the same one we got in the animated series, right?
Yep.
Yes, it was. But I mean, because then at that point you're kind of like splitting hairs because technically speaking, I mean, Steve Rogers is almost the exact same thing. Like the man is like what 70 something years old when he gets thawed out. If you're talking like MCU,
yeah.
No, he's over. By the time he goes back, by the time Endgame happens, he's well over 100.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of my point. But yeah, because stasis, because like you're asleep and the mind doesn't have time to develop. Yeah, she's still like moody teenager. Oh my god, where's my cell phone? Let me fucking tweet about this and that kind of stupid shit. At least for nowadays times. In the 90s, it would have been completely different. It would have been the Valley Girl. Oh my god, go to the mall. Oh, you know.
No, I want to say they made her very. I want to say she was kind of abrasive. Like, she was more prone to anger, and she would lash out, and she was very much like a more moody... They really played the angsty-esque teen, if I remember right. But in the comics... I'm having trouble here, but this might not have been Supergirl. I think it was some sort of weird...
There's the animated one.
Yeah. But I think in the comic books, she was like an alien thing that could take the form of stuff and took the form of Supergirl. So it wasn't even actually Supergirl to begin with.
I remember that, I guess you could say the previous looking Supergirl during the death and return of Superman era.
I do, yes, because that's the one that got punched in the face by Doomsday and turned into pink goop.
Ooh, yeah.
But but that's what I mean. I think, isn't that her? Didn't she switch from blue to this in the comics? I think that was part of her run.
I don't remember. The last time I remember reading about her in the comics was just after Superman returned and she was playing Clark for a while.
And she also would have brown hair. She would have brown hair or whatever. She would be like a brunette and then she would turn blonde. Like, I remember very little about this era other than this was her costume. And I want to say, yeah, like we used her form for the animated series, and then we also used the same one in the Justice League. And we cloned her, and that's how we tried to explain Power Girl in the Justice League, which I did not like at all.
Right, and I'm actually trying to read up on it because from where I'm at right now, that'd be 96, and that would have been all of the Matrix, Linda Danvers stuff. So let me, because Matrix was.
Yeah, because this I don't remember this. I'm pretty sure this was not Kara. I'm pretty sure that this is not the Supergirl. I think it may have been that creature, or if it wasn't that creature, it had something to do with like her being granted powers or something. I cannot remember what was going on here. I really cannot.
Wasn't she a clone?
That is probably the Matrix thing that I'm reading on right now in the 80s. After like all the post-crisis reboot stuff, from what I'm reading, Lex ends up implanting her with Lana Lang's memories, which gives her the ability to shapeshift to look like Lana.
Lana?
Yeah, that's what it says.
So she was able to... Is that what the Burnett thing is that I'm remembering? Is she could turn into Lana? Man,
it's a possibility, yeah.
Fucking comic books, man. No wonder nobody ever knows what the fuck is going on. Like why? Like, that's so... Whatever. Anyways, this was the fucking costume, okay?
Okay, how about this? The costume is cool.
Because we could discuss this fucking character all night and not remember or actually give a shit to remember any of this. Because it's
you're not
very
wrong. And
irrelevant.
To be fair, the fans are going to bury us in the comments anyway.
Even if they do, anything they could possibly bring up, no matter how much fucking wiki knowledge you have, it's redundant because this character, I don't even think it exists anymore.
Well, I was going to say, isn't this the version that we see in the DC Online? Or do we see the standard?
No, because a DC Online updates like every other month, depending on what actor happens to be playing them. And like currently, if I'm not mistaken, if you're on there, they try to kind of make it look like the Supergirl who's playing in this show.
Alyssa Benoist.
So they constantly do that on DC Online. They constantly alter the costumes and look of the main characters to kind of feature what happens to actually be going on in the larger scale of the universe for DC. So they try to keep it relevant as if you're playing right now in the DC universe.
Right.
So it's constantly changing. Like, I remember 4 different Supergirls in just the time that I played, and I only played for like 2 years. So that's her. Look, I don't know what else to tell you. That's her. She still looks exactly like Kara. They didn't really change much. She's pretty. She looks like the original Kara. She's blonde. I prefer Supergirl to be blonde. I know they've tried different gimmicks in the past. I don't know if I dig the idea that they did the Gwen Stacy hairband-esque thing. I think they were...
Right.
I don't know. I'm not digging that.
Holy shit, that does... Oh, man, I didn't even realize that.
I don't mind the little cape. I'm okay with the smaller cape on the ladies, and I'm not a big fan of the gloves. This looks like a teenage girl went out and bought Superman merchandise, bought some red boots, made a cape, and then like left school to fight evil. Like,
right.
To me, for me, I don't mind this. I am more used to the current and original style.
I prefer the classic myself, yes.
But considering that I remember this from the animated series, and I thought it was in some of the games, but I don't mind it. But when I see this Supergirl, I see somebody who should be part of the Titans.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I could see it.
I guess I could see that playing out. But talk about giving them a broke-ass team. I mean, they've already got Superboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had, because comic books is ultra complicated, and now there's a whole different fucking thing going on with the Titans and everything. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Comics.
that's how you could switch it. That's how you can switch it in and out. Because at one point you could have Superboy, and then once he's gone, you have Supergirl. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. as far as I'm concerned, I'm willing to fall on a 3, but I'm also willing to say that this fits the kind of criteria where normally I would give a 2 because it's just a girl in clothes.
Right.
I mean, I've literally seen... In fact, when I stop and think about it, I have actually seen girls at the mall wear this exact thing because they sell those shirts with capes. I've seen it at the mall that girls wear exactly this. It's not really a superhero costume. It's a teen outfit. So normally I would fall on a 2. I'm gonna go a 3, and just because.
I think I've seen some of those at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, me personally, I'm gonna pull a Shane here, and because of the time period, this wouldn't be something that you could just go and literally pick up at Hot Topic. But I'm gonna go a 4.
Yeah, you're right. You're
because-
right about that. You couldn't have just
Right.
bought this at Hot Topic during the time. You're right.
Right. So, like I said, I'm gonna go a 4, and the only thing that actually would have made this costume a little bit better, in my opinion, is the gloves. Literally make it look like she's trying to cosplay as, like, Knuckles the Echidna sometimes in some of these pictures, where they look like fucking boxing gloves instead of, like, you know, lacy gloves from, like, the fucking 60s and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then, of course, like you pointed out, the Gwen Stacy fucking headband. Like, it's not going to do anything for you when you're flying at Mach speed. Like,
Unless you lose it.
well, yes, but whether you lose it or not, like, her hair's still going to look almost the exact fucking same. It's just, now I have an accent because I've got a headband.
Well, I mean, you figure her hair has to be almost as indestructible as Superman's. That's if this is Supergirl, but I'm telling you, I seem to remember something about her being not as powerful, and, like, I don't remember what was going on. She was a brunette, and then she would go blonde, and I think she was the girl in the blue, but then I think something happened and she changed her costume, which, if it was the girl in the blue that I'm thinking about, then it wasn't actually Supergirl. It was this weird thing that could change into stuff, and it turned into Supergirl. It was like a fucking Ditto, basically.
Oh,
And then
like
it got-
Martian Man-
It literally got
Martian
punched.
Manhunter's
It literally
niece.
got punched in the face so fucking hard it became a Ditto again when it fought Doomsday, because she was not anywhere near the power of an actual Kryptonian, and she flew up on Doomsday, and he punched her like once, and she turned back into goo.
Well, I look at this costume.
And I
And
think it's
I-
hot.
First off, yes. Second off, that's beside the point. The point, it's not really, when I really look at it, it's not really a costume, like you said. It's basically she put on gloves and a clip-on fucking cape. But at the same time, I don't mind it at all. The white's a little different, especially since you're so used to the blue that it sometimes a change is a good thing. But overall, I don't like the gloves. There's no reason.
I will admit that had she kept white as her primary color for Supergirl in general, it would have helped her stand out and be more interesting. I'll go with that. I do like the white. I think you're right. I get tired of her being just female Superman.
That's all they did. That's all they've ever done. Even in the Supergirl show, if you watch, they just call her.
They just steal a bunch of Superman shit so that she can be Superman.
And they even called her, I think in the first season, they even called her like a female Superman.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, but she's completely different. She is a different character. Yes, she has the same backstory, a little different. She was sleeping. He was not. Well, technically, he was sleeping, but he was a baby, and he didn't go into stasis like she did. But same backstory. But overall, I think this costume is actually pretty cool. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I'd give it higher if it wasn't for the stupid gloves, because there's no there's no reason she doesn't leave fingerprints. If this is actually Supergirl,
I'm telling you, I feel like it's not.
Thing or whatever. But it's not like she'll leave fingerprints because, she's Kryptonian. There's no reason for the gloves. Your fingerprints do not work the same like ours. You don't leave them everywhere when you touch stuff.
Right.
But still, I would have given, like I said, I'd give it a higher score if it wasn't for the gloves. But because the gloves are there, I have to bump it down to a 3.5. But overall, I think this is a solid costume,
All right.
especially the midriff.
What are we missing? Scott, did you score this yet?
No.
No, you just
Yeah,
talked a
no.
little bit. Okay.
I'm giving it a 3.3.
All right. All right. I noticed we're falling on the 3 area pretty hard here.
With just
Right.
minor, I think with minor tweaks, it would have gotten a 4 or higher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could be right.
Yeah, it's very true.
But
Because
this is not.
altogether, she ended up being a 3.45. So
All right, 3.45 for Super Gwen.
Let's be real, Supergirl. Oh my god, let's be real for a minute. She has worse costumes than this.
Yes, which we will see. That's this episode.
God.
Later, guys. Bye bye. Peace out.